Hi guys, welcome to a nice Friday evening, and today we are going to talk all about staging and stage and how to bring it to your screen. Tonight we are very lucky that we have Mr. Rafi Din, who is the managing director of ARK-AV. ARK-AV is actually a consulting an AV consultation film. So they do previously we had a session with Ray and Malcolm talking about AV consultants. So Rafi is one of those. All right. So he's right now, of course, due to COVID, it's not a lot of actual building projects because you can't build anything right now or location. I mean, as in venue projects and stuff. So Rafi has actually do he's actually doing AV consultant for companies and corporates on how to bring their town halls and everything from the conventional meetings in the past into a virtual thingy. So without further ado, okay, let me bring him in. Hi, Rafi. Nice to meet you.
Hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. How's
All right,
everybody doing?
good, good. Would you like to give an introduction of yourself?
Yeah, sure. For those of you who
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
joining me now live, thanks to Jinfu also to having me on the show
Yep.
tonight. Just to introduce, my name is Rafi Din. I'm the MD for ARK-AV Private Limited. It's a company in Singapore. I do audio visual consulting. Also supply and install for build up projects and installations and things like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In as you know, now with the whole COVID-19 scenario here in Singapore and all over the world, a lot of major projects and a lot of events have been basically cancelled, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of businesses are also looking to go online. So this is also an opportunity for the industry folks like us to step in to be that bridge as well between
Mm-hmm.
businesses
Mm-hmm.
and events
Yep.
companies that want to get their events online. So some of my background is of course in also film. We're just having a chat before the show, saying that hey, we have some common friends
Yep.
that go
Yep.
back a
We
long
do. We
time,
do.
and yeah, I started in the film and TV industry doing sound, and some of that 1990s television studio stuff, location film, and all that kind of things, stuff that I have as my background before diving in to do events and theater, AV, and some of that work as sound crew, video, and all that. So basically, got my hands dirty doing things like crew, pushing boxes, coiling cables, the
Mm-hmm.
whole
Mm-hmm.
deal with prata and
Yep.
curry, and as your supper,
Yep.
and
Yep.
build the way up until I've done all to manage arts center in the Esplanade as well as in Republic Poly to build up a new performing arts center there.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
after that, basically build up networks, meet people like you, Jinfu, and other industry professionals here in Singapore. And we decided, the industry here is quite strong. I've built up quite a good portfolio, so that's when I decided to step out and do ARK-AV full time as my own business. And so far, it's been good, and it's a challenging period right now. This quarter of the year, this first half of the year has been pretty challenging for everybody's business.
Yep. True.
But we do see things picking up, thankfully,
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
the streaming support and the AV technologies that can help to bring businesses back online. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's just
Mm-hmm.
a little bit about about me. Sorry I took so long.
It's okay. It's just actually very good. So like of course, today we are talking about stage to screen. So what how to people I mean, of course we all know how conventional events was done in the past. You book a venue, or you first have the venue, and then if let's say the venue doesn't have equipment, you bring the equipment in, set out the equipment, blah blah blah, and then after that you have the event, be it a concert, be it a town hall meeting, be it whatever not, right? But how do you bring all the way from the physical thingy now into a virtual thingy? Like what do you do to convert it?
Yeah, I think the first of all, the mindset of performance has to adapt. because a lot of performing arts practitioners, they are so used to building a show that is meant for the stage, right? So you're building a performance with an audience in mind, with sideline in mind, with acoustics in mind. And that's how we build shows traditionally. You write a story based on this kind of narrative and the kind of mood you want to achieve within the room. And so once we want to start to translate that into a 2D environment, so to speak, because you're watching it on a screen, it's a
Yeah.
two-dimensional
Yeah.
platform. So the mindset of how we translate movement, how we translate emotion from how you usually see it on the stage, and how that will be translated on to the screen. So that mindset is one of the first things that we have to kind of shift, because you can't continue doing things the same way. You have to adapt. And for even the actors that are trying to perform on the camera, it's a very different way of performing than you do on the stage. So every little part of it matters. The technical team as well, sound crew, sound engineers who are used to doing shows live in a venue with tactile consoles to work with, and suddenly you're thrown into a broadcast mix. And if you don't have any experience doing broadcast mixing, it's a very different ball game, right? It's a very different workflow, very different kind of feedback that you get from the other side of the lens, right? So this entire concept of moving performances online really involves unlearning some of our habits, and also to kind of tap into also other industry professionals who have been in have more experience in video making, or have more experience in things like doing location sound, and tap in on on that knowledge and experience, and collaborate as well. So that's a good way to start.
Okay, let me have you sip of water first. Yeah, because you'll be talking you will be talking a lot today. All right. So of course, coming from I think those are very good points in the sense that right now there's no stage or no physical stage for us to do, and a lot of traditional lifestyle engineers have to switch their mentality or to change in the way that they do things so that they can fit into the current climate. But I mean, performers will also need to change the way that they do things so that they can embrace the norm now, which is like live streaming and stuff. But okay, one thing I would like to ask, like for example, like like if let's say you have a rock band performance, but how do you kind of like do it from stage into screen? Will you actually convert it from stage to screen? I mean, I have seen a lot of these performance right now. Like Timber is doing this, but a lot of it is pre-recorded. But
Mm,
what would you suggest if let's say like a band or a venue wants to do it so that they can keep their fans engaged and not forget them?
mm. Yeah, the thing with
Mm,
musical performances and putting your performance online,
mm,
we have to kind of actually draw the line between what is live and what is broadcast,
mm,
right?
mm,
So if you are doing a music performance and your musicians are all over the world, so to speak, or all over Singapore, all over the island, then even the best live streaming uh, platforms like Zoom and all this, the latency that it adds to the stream will not be very useful for time synchronized kind of performance. So it can be done with some rehearsals. You have to compensate with the latency on one end. But if you're having multiple, if it's at point A to point B, one person just has to compensate. But if you have five musicians, then who is the one that takes the final compensation, right? So that gets really challenging. There are, of course, platforms that we can get like real time tempo sync through the DAW or through certain plugins. But of course, a lot of post production is also involved. So when we want to talk about having musicians do their performance live to mimic a stage performance, the recommendation for the best quality is still pre-recorded. That means you record the musicians to a click track. Each musician in their own home do their own performance, record themselves to the click track, send theirs to the next person. He adds the next track, adds the next track, so on and so forth. And then the final work is edited down to appear as the entire band is playing together. Then you can broadcast that live for the audience to enjoy, of course. And while the broadcast may be pre-recorded, the comments don't have to be, right? So the artist can engage with the fans directly through the comments during the stream, right? So when you're broadcasting that, it can be a watch party on Facebook, it could be a live stream on Twitch, and there's other platforms as well, but these are the two more popular ones for with very high engagement with the fans. So even if it's pre-recorded, the band can still engage the audience in real time, and that keeps the energy level going, I think.
Okay. So as a summary of what Rafi has said, right now, due to technology constraints, by all the video streaming or video conferencing software is delays will be happening most of the time unless you have someone that can bind all of them together, but which is quite hard because everybody's internet is also quite different also. And then even if let's say you have like the two gigabyte thingy, right, but you're not plugged into Ethernet cable, it's still gonna be gone. And also, what if your ISP suddenly dies or take a break? I mean, this happen like
Starhub.
I'm on StarHub, and yesterday I have a glitch. Yeah, and then Jeff froze halfway. I was like, oh shit, Jeff froze. Yeah, so all these kind of things can happen if you are doing like a live performance kind of thing. So of course, in Dean's in Rafi's recommendation is that you actually can pre-record everything, and then okay, if let's say if you're I'm just voicing out lah. Okay, so let's say if you're a band, maybe you have a set of 30 minutes, let's say 30 minutes, 5 songs, that's around 6 to 7 songs. So you just pre-record 6 to 7 songs, and then do your usual banter and everything, engage the audience. After that you switch, when it's time, you just switch to the new song, and then switch to the next song, and then there's always interlude for you guys to tease the audience, read the comments and everything. So this actually reduces the issues of you having audio dropouts or synchronization issue, or the audio sounds like shit because Zoom or Skype or whatever not over compresses the thing. Yeah, like recently I also tried something on Skype. Like there's actually compression or tucking done on Skype where you allow Skype to auto control your mic volume. So that's quite
Yeah.
that's quite scary if you're a performer.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
settings that you can do to get the best sound out of your Zoom or Skype. Of course, Zoom has a little bit better control for the processing of your audio signal. Inside Skype, there's nothing. There's just one button. So, but
Yeah.
it's if you know how to tweak it, you can get much better sound, especially in Zoom. I've tested most of the platforms. What I found out is that basically Zoom has the best audio quality for a video
Wow.
conferencing
Really?
app that is free that anyone can use, right? So the Zoom is the best quality for all of those that I've tested, and so that's why it's one of the popular choices for doing webinars and doing trainings, and even there are a lot of people who are trying to do live performance using Zoom. Is it ideal? Still not yet ideal, but there are ways around it to try to make it work. Like recently, actually, for event with Singapore Repertory Theatre, SRT, we did a live stream performance. It's actually a rehearsed reading, the actors reading a script with some acting to the camera, right? And we had that call on Zoom, but we composited the entire video. So parts of each person's box is composited onto the video stream using OBS. And everything was done remotely because circuit breaker was already on, right? So no one could meet. I had to ship out equipment to each of the cast members, and then instructions were given remotely. Troubleshooting, everything was done remotely, and it worked, right? So what was important is like what Jinfu mentioned also, is like the internet. Everyone's internet is different, but when you're doing any kind of streaming, you want to make sure that your broadband is at the best health as possible, right? So that one of the ways is to maintain a wired connection. So using the wired connection, you get the full speed that you paid for. If you're using Wi-Fi, you're only getting half of the speed. So why waste your money, right?
Okay, point taken. No, but you know, but it's kind of painful because, like, for example, like my MacBook doesn't have a wired LAN connection port. Yeah, expensive lah, bro. Yeah.
You can get USB connectors. It helps you with
Okay.
everything.
Okay. But also another issue is, like, you know, I need to run the cable all the way from my living room into my bedroom just to do that. So yeah, it's a bit, you know, painful in a sense. I mean, it's a bit, you know, troublesome. But of course, you know, I think if you are a musician or a content creator, or you are going to shift into any new house, you know, it's always a good idea to have a wired point inside your or have wired points inside all the different places so that you can be wired up nicely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Okay. So like for example, the for the SRT, when they did the reading and the acting, right? How do you make sure that everybody, or everybody, there was like minimum lag and they could react to each other?
For that particular event, basically because everyone was on the same Zoom call, so it was very low latency between each other. We had not experimented with having audio playback at the same time because that was the first project, so we wanted to keep it simple. And basically, we had 4 cast members and 1 sign translator. So there was 5 persons on the cast that was on the Zoom call, and on the back of that, there's without video, there's a narrator and the director, myself, and the host that are also on the call. So we have about 10 people on the call that were receiving and taking instructions for that. So that was all from one platform. So there was very little latency amongst the cast members. But once we send that over to OBS, of course, it's just a screen capture because Zoom doesn't have NDI integration, which we'll go into later. So it was pretty seamless there, but of course we have to consider the time lag between the actual stream itself and when the actors have spoken. So thankfully for this kind of event, there wasn't a need for live interaction with the audience. So they just did their own thing without watching the Facebook stream itself. So that helps to so they're isolated and they don't have to worry about what's happening on the stream. So that works really well. But if you want to have some interaction in between, then that is a lot of time delay involved. So especially if you want to react to comments and things like that. So it's best that you get the comments into your conferencing app or right into your broadcasting app. So it's a lot more real time once you receive it rather than reading it once you see it on Facebook.
Yeah, true. I'm sure, like, you know, you guys who have been using OBS or Ecamm or all these streaming apps to do your stream, there's always like widgets or any other things that can actually pull the comments in. Okay, like what do you recommend Since we're on this topic, right, what do you usually use for your streams?
Right now I actually use multiple platforms.
Mm-hmm,
When
mm-hmm,
I'm doing my ARK-AV live show, I use vMix. So vMix is a paid broadcasting application. Very easy to work around, very powerful system, and relatively easy, nice UI for you to work around the software.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So for my live show, I do that, and I also use that to record my tutorial videos. I can record directly to the computer disk
mm-hmm.
without using the camera SD card, right? So that's my main platform if I'm doing recording and streaming. And also I use OBS sometimes if I have to work with clients who don't have any other software, because OBS is free, right? So it's totally free. I
Yep.
can customize the template for them and then just send over the files. Then they load up the template and ready to go. Just a word of caution that the OBS for Mac and OBS for PC has a different architecture, so certain things in your profile doesn't translate. So
Oh,
take note, okay?
okay.
Take note.
Okay. What's the big difference
Pro
between
tip:
OBS and
Mac and
Mac
PC.
and OBS Windows? Yeah.
The Mac and the PC version use different architecture for display capture. So when you capture, you have a display capture source in OBS for Windows. When you load up that profile or scene collection into Mac, you don't have anything. It shows up as blank
Mm-hmm.
because the architecture that it uses to capture the screen is different.
Okay.
Yeah, so certain things like transform and all this, they may not translate properly as well. So that's the OBS. And then thirdly, I use another platform called Streamlabs OBS. Streamlabs OBS I use mainly for Twitch streaming when I do my music things. So on Twitch, there's a lot of widgets, like we mentioned earlier, widgets where you can place things like a comment box, alert box somewhere here, and you get very fast live interaction with your audience, right? So Twitch is a platform that has very good interaction with your audience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Streamlabs OBS works very well with Twitch because they have this whole suite of widgets that you can use. So basically, these are my three platforms that I use for streaming. But when I work with clients, mainly it will be vMix or OBS.
Mm. Okay. Okay. How? Okay. Like for example, I know that vMix has a call function. Is it?
Yes, vMix has a call. Yes, so vMix has a built-in video call function. Depending on which version of the application you purchase, you can get anywhere between 1, 2, 4, or 8 callers into your
Mm-hmm.
system.
Mm-hmm.
So vMix call is kind of like uh, I wouldn't say it's like Skype because it's a totally different thing. It's point to point. So basically your caller will call you directly into vMix without using any additional software. You just give them a browser link, you enter a password, and you got a secure link to your caller. And each caller will have its own video and audio track. So then
Oh.
it's easily composited in your scene, right? So in a similar trend, how Skype has built-in NDI. So Skype is able to send you each participant in the Skype call, their video and audio track, and you can send that into OBS or any other NDI software, right? So you can use it in your new tech, or you can put it in your vMix or anything else that uses NDI.
Okay. Just to clarify, like, I mean, if let's say I have like apart from you, I have another person on Skype. If I use NDI, I can actually capture you as one person with your audio track and capture the other guy as another video input with his audio track. Is it correct?
That's right. That's right. For Skype, you
Ah,
can do that.
wow.
Yeah. So
Wow,
you
wow.
have 5 callers on Skype. You can have 5 video track and 5. Each video will have its own audio track. But
Okay.
there's some limitation with Skype lah. So the
Mm-hmm.
audio track sometimes is doesn't separate as cleanly. So you might still end up hearing all the callers in the audio track.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you're, I mean, having vmix, I think as an option will make it easier for you.
Yeah, with Vmax it's way easier. In fact, just today I was having a technical run with a client, and we had 8 callers calling into the system with very low latency. Video and audio quality was pretty good, and everyone could see and hear each other clearly.
Okay.
All this from my desktop system here at home,
Okay.
so that
Just
works really
mhm,
well.
mhm. Just to check, like for example, like vmix can, is it possible, like let's say we have 5 callers calling to you, but you only want to broadcast the 5 callers, but you can still talk back to them, but your talkback is not being broadcasted out. Is it possible?
Yes, you can set up like a separate audio bus in the back end.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, it's
wow.
it's a bit finicky lah, but you can set it up to send your like a talkback mic into
Mm-hmm.
the call.
Okay, okay. So hypothetically, right, if let's say the talkback might sends a click or guide track to 5 of them, and then they listen to it and then they play over it, does it mean that they can?
Mm.
I don't know. I'm just
I was
throwing
toying
this
with
out
this
as idea.
idea. I was
Uh-huh,
having a
uh-huh.
discussion with some of my musician friends.
Mm-hmm.
We were planning to do a kind of a live collaboration thing. So this was one of the ideas that I had in mind. I have not tested it out, but if you are watching and you are a VMix expert, please let me know.
Okay.
I Because from what I understand, the latency is both ways. So the caller side, if their internet isn't very fast, they'll receive latency, and then by the time I get that back, there will be more latency on my side. So even if I'm sending them a click, by the time they hear that click and the time that the next person on the call hears the click,
Mm-hmm.
it might be a different time already.
Oh,
So I
okay.
have not absolutely tried this yet. But if I tested it, I will let you guys know if it works. So there might be a review video coming up soon.
Okay. I mean, feel free to let us know, or I mean, I don't mind helping you. So I think that'd be quite interesting. We just need to get more people to test, to see, like, if let's say, like, you and me, we test, we do a stress load lah. Like for example, how many people can we add until shit happens?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that'd be
there are
interesting.
other plugins. There are other
Mm-hmm.
plugins available that allow you to synchronize audio over IP.
Oh.
And I think there are some studio engineers that do use this kind of plugins. Like Audio Movers has one. There's Sound Whale, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
Session Wire. So there's some of this not too expensive. They're about 100 plus US dollars. So pretty okay. The price is not exorbitant. And it's if you use the studio often enough and you're recording artists and you need to get tracks in and out, so those are your options. And how would that translate if you want to use it for a live environment? Well, then there's a bit of experimentation that we need to do lah. So we have to try it out. Again, the same rules apply. The latency has to be compensated on one end. Usually is the last point before the broadcast. So you have multiple musicians laying tracks. The last person that is laying a track would be the one that is broadcasting, because you have the zero latency monitoring. So then that's how I would put together like a live collab with musicians online.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's kind of interesting because I I I I mean, I always thought that, I always felt that, it's actually very hard to do all this kind of coordinated um live video call playing. Actually, it's actually very very hard, right? Like, to be honest,
It needs
to get it.
practice lah.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. So okay. Guys, of course, if you're watching this and you have questions on how to translate everything to this, right? Just let us know, okay?
Yeah, if you have any questions, or you have ever tried putting a performance they would usually do on the stage and you're trying to putting it on screen, yeah, drop drop it in the comments, and then we can discuss, right?
Okay, okay. So, of course, um, um, of course, I think we focus a lot on music and live streaming for musicians today, but let's say like for example, apart from this, right? What other events did you did online? Like.
Online
Mm-hmm.
events, yeah, I think currently there's a client that I'm working with. We'll be presenting like a panel discussion kind of thing. So that's also something like not really a webinar, but it's more like a panel discussion uh, about of upcoming events and things like this. So this kind of platform, usually we could easily do it in something like Zoom or Skype again, and then of course just like capture it, like how we're doing this call as well is just over Skype, and then we capture that and broadcast it. But the questions that clients usually will ask is how can we make it look better, right? So the whole idea of compositing and adding on your elements, design element and transitions and things like that. So that's how we make it look better for your live show. Because if it's just a screen capture and your four squares on Zoom or something like that, anyone can do that, right? So why would they hire someone to do it, right? You can do it on your own. So
Mm-hmm.
if they want
True.
to take it to the next step, how to improve that, what kind of workflow you're looking at, what are the technical challenges that they're facing, how can they improve the experience for the audience. So those are the questions that will come by, and then we basically, my role will be to assist them to figure these things out. So I will usually try not to say no first. We'll try to figure it out along the way, because most of the time is the easy part is to say no. Can this be done? No, cannot. But the hard answer is yes, it can be done, but we need time to find out. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the challenge that we're facing during this period. Some of us are doing simple panel discussion. You just ingest video, whoever everyone else on their own webcam, then you just ingest that video, composite
Mm-hmm.
it, and pump it out. And then the design element is another thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The destination of the stream is another thing. Some might want to go Facebook, some want to go to YouTube, some want to go to Vimeo, some want to go to a private server. So these are the things that we have to juggle with when we're planning the event.
True. Because I seen some of the live streams, and it was actually, wow, very very interesting and very nicely done with like a lot of 3Dness to the thing. I mean, despite a lot of them are like sitting at home like kind of thing, but it's actually quite interesting and quite cool to see it, and it gives the customer a very very different experience, to be honest. Yep.
Mm. Yeah, because I have also experienced some because as a consumer myself, I mean sometimes we also are watching webinars, right? We're watching webinars, we're watching this kind
Mm.
of web streams. Now it's like we're overdosing on webinars. Every day I get a few messages from friends or industry professionals and saying, hey, check out our webinar, make yourself free for this date. And then if you're going to put everything in your calendar, you have no time for lunch. So
Yeah.
so it's, yeah, we're all webinar out. And sometimes I do watch these when I have time, and I do watch some of these webinars, and we do realize that even though they can, some just try to put it together as quickly as they can, and a lot of things doesn't really go well. So whenever you do a video that's a live broadcasting video, two very important things that everyone has to consider is that the quality of your video, of course, matters. And what's more important than the quality of your video? Any guesses, Jinfu?
Mm. Oh yeah, of course,
Yeah, the
definitely. The audio
quality of
is
your
very very
sound.
important.
right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
if your video is a bit grainy, a bit pixelated, but your audio is tip top, your audience will totally forgive you and they can still follow along. But what happens if your video is really nice and sharp and 4K, and then you sound like you're in a cardboard box, or your sound is
Mm-hmm.
jittering, stuttering? No one is gonna pay attention, right? Even myself, if I'm watching a stream and the sound is cutting out, I'll
Mm-hmm.
just log out because I can't follow along, and it gets frustrating as a viewer. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the more important thing, I think. And unfortunately have sat in some webinars by big organizations, and the quality drops out like that. Maybe they have not prepared their speaker, the panelists, or they have not prepared their staff to handle a proper web stream. And unfortunately, that happens. Things start to drop out, audio drop out, video cuts off, or like the wrong slide comes out and all that. I mean, that happens in a live event as well. But as best as possible, we want to avoid those kind of scenario. So that's where folks like us come in. We advise the client and say, hey, okay, these are the things you need to look out for. You have to consider this. Um, how are your people calling in? Do they have the software and hardware? So then that's the way that we have to guide the client, because sometimes this is the last thing on their mind. To them is that I just want to get this message out to the internet, and they rush it out, and then unfortunately things start to break down if you rush things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. True. Um. Okay. One thing you talked about just now, like for example, I mean like audio jittering and audio dropping out, right? What are the usual causes of that?
Audio dropout, one of the problems is actually bandwidth. So if your internet speed is not fast enough, you might get dropout on the receiving end. But on the broadcasting end, usually
Mm-hmm.
it's has to do with your bit rate. So setting your software application at the right bit rate, and making sure that you're not over stressing the bandwidth. Because honestly, when you're watching a live stream, what are you likely to be watching it on? Is it going to be a laptop computer, or is it going to be a 5,000 watt PA system? Right. So likely it's going to be on a laptop computer or a desktop computer. Maybe you have like a nice pair of earphones or headphones, but you don't need 192 kilohertz at 32 bit, right? So you don't need that. You just need for me, the maximum I will go is maybe 48 kilohertz. And then we'll stream at, maybe the highest I go is maybe 192 for a compression. And on a normal day, maybe a 128 is good enough. 128 kbps for your compression. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that your stream is consistent and your audio is clear. And you don't want it to be too low as well. If you just want to save bandwidth and then you put it really low, then what happens is you sound like cassette tape lah. You don't want to sound like
Okay. Okay.
you're in a super old cassette tape, right? So you have to
Okay.
find the in between. And of course, the hardware matters as well, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
and I, we are using nice professional microphones for this
Mm-hmm.
web
Mm-hmm.
stream.
Yep.
But if you're just using your built-in audio on your laptop or your built-in microphone on your webcam, the sound quality is going to be a bit different, right? It might be a bit more
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
noisy and all that. So those are the things
Yep.
that matter.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Of course, that definitely Oh yeah, one question to ask you, how do you set your audio bitrate? Like for example, what are the software that you can use to do that? Like of course, we know that Skype can't do that. But what are the? I mean, you've been doing so much streams with so much software, right? Which are the ones that has a lot more control?
Mm, Actually, the bitrate setting is on your output, so on your streaming settings. So when you set the stream there's a number of things that you have to set up, right? So your video resolution, so that's how big your image is gonna be. I wouldn't go more than 1080p. We don't really need to go anything more than that, because no one's really consuming 4K online right now. So your 1080p 60 frames per second will be the highest I will go. And then for the audio settings, it usually is together with the stream settings, right? So your compression and the overall bit rate that you can select. So that's within the streaming output section of your software. It's whether it's OBS, vMix, Streamlabs, or whatsoever. There's a setting there. But what's important is garbage in, garbage out, right? So if your microphones are not very good quality, then you're not gonna get good quality no matter what bit rate you pump out. So that's where good quality hardware is also important. And getting a good audio interface to plug in your hardware is also important. Right. So if you're just using a standard USB microphone, no harm with that. It doesn't mean that you have to live with the bad audio. If you just have a USB microphone, you can do some processing, right? If you have a DAW, you can drop in a compressor, drop in your noise gate, do your nice EQ curve, and then output that to your streaming software.
Okay.
Right. So you can send your via a loopback or some kind of aggregate device. If you're using a Macintosh, right? On Apple, you can do aggregate device, so you can send your audio from one software to another. Right. So you can process in your DAW and then send that out to your streaming or your webcasting software. Then you can have a bit of better control on your sound.
Wow, I think one day you must do an example of how to do that so that our viewers can see and learn.
Yeah, maybe I'll do a webinar training or something. If you like me to, please drop a comment or a post on my Facebook page, facebook.com/ARK-AV production. Yeah. Must share a bit, right?
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, definitely. I mean, that's why we are doing this in a sense. Of course, guys, if you have like more, you want to learn more and have more questions about all this kind of thing, just feel free to drop us a comment, or anything so that we can actually learn. Yeah. Well, of course, like, sorry. Lucky we are doing this via Skype. If I cough in front of you, you're gonna be sick, and then that's like 5 days of medical leave. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Lucky the virus doesn't spread digitally yet. Yeah. So thankfully for that. Yeah.
No.
Okay. So I think it's very interesting that like we will actually run through a lot of things from softwares to hardware, and of course the limitations of what can be done because of our bandwidth limitation. But usually, right, like if let's say you want to have a very stable life, right, do you recommend like having a router that can switch into your SIM cards, that kind of thing, just to make sure the stream is okay?
Okay. So what you're talking about is like a bonded SIM.
Yep.
Right. So for most of us now, because we are work from home, right? So at home, you're not likely to have a 4G bonding device, right? Most of us just have our fiber broadband. But what will happen, like 2 weeks ago, M1 fiber was cut off for the entire island almost, right? So what will happen if you were on M1 and you had a scheduled webinar and you're working from home? Dun dun dun. Too bad, no show, right? So if you are doing a high profile event with a zero, what do you call it? Like a zero error kind of a scenario, you can't afford for the show to be cancelled, then you very well have to get a backup in place. So one of the backups for wire internet is to use bonded SIM. So if you have a live view device, for example, live view is one of the brands that makes this. I think there are also devices from Huawei and all these more commercially available ones that you can basically install multiple data SIM cards in the device, and you get a wired Cat6 connection that you can plug into your computer. So this can work as a backup for you if you are doing a high profile event and you can't afford for the show to get cancelled or your internet to drop out. So bonded SIM will be the best way to backup. So basically your computer can be receiving internet from multiple devices at the same time. So and it will by default. I know for Windows system it does that. For Macs as well to certain degree, the computer will auto detect the fastest network and use that to connect to the internet. So in the case that your wired internet somehow dies, then the bonded SIM internet will continue streaming for you.
Okay, okay. So that's kind of like the ultimate backup plan lah, in a certain sense.
Well, the ultimate is a satellite phone lah, but not
Wow.
really likely that you want to use
Eh,
that.
but how much bitrate or how much data is a satellite phone?
I have
If you
never
know.
tried one before actually. So, but if you're in a really remote place with no 4G signal, then satellite is the only way to go.
Wow, that's
And
kind of
but
crazy.
I
Yeah.
haven't really, I don't have any event that big or that remote yet lah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So if I do one day, I'll update you.
True, true. Wow. Okay. At least. Well, that'll be quite interesting if we can actually do that, and then but voila, we are now now happening on on satellite and everything. But that's gonna be very very expensive, correct?
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
think satellite system also come with subscription and all that. So
Mm-hmm,
it's a
mm-hmm.
lot more equipment and high cost lah. But I think those are more for your really some of the international
Okay. Okay.
newscasters. They do use that kind of technology.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. True, true. I think for mission critical like news all these they have no choice, so they have to go through that. But usually like if let's say if someone wants to do like a corporate town hall, um what will be the easiest way for them to do? Like for example, let's say they want to stream to the entire whole company. Of course, you like I mean, what would you advise to do it? Of course, they can't do it via Facebook or YouTube. That's a bit funny, right? But
Mm.
what would you recommend that you do, and then so that they can?
Well,
Mm,
if it's a MNC, I think a lot of the larger companies right now they already own the multiple versions of video conferencing. You know, you have your Cisco WebEx, you
mm,
got your Blue Jeans, and all these other corporate level of web conferencing software. Because like for us, for most consumers out there, especially those who are work from home now, majority on like Google Meet, Zoom, and Skype. I must say Skype isn't so popular nowadays because of it's just the platform isn't that popular. Microsoft has been trying to push Microsoft Teams to organizations to do their web conferencing. But if you're doing more like a town hall kind of thing, in fact, I do know some companies that just use Google Meet. You know, Google Meet you can have up to I think quite a lot of users logged in at the same time, so they can view one way. Of course, Zoom as well. You can take up to 100 callers in one Zoom call. Just for the standard one. If you buy the webinar add-on, then you can have many more, hundreds of people, even thousands, probably, right? So there are the platforms available depending on the capacity and the load that you need. We don't have to rely on only the free ones. When you're talking corporate level, then there are as one of our friends, Ming Song says, get the right tools for the right job, right? So if it's a large corporate gig and they need the fail-safe, they need to be sure that everyone receives a smooth stream, then they have to get the hardware
mm,
and the
mm,
server that is able to support that. So don't skimp on that, especially corporate level.
mm. Nice. Okay. I mean, I think that's kind of important because like if you have a town hall and then shit happens, it's gonna be quite embarrassing, especially for the CEO and the top management. So
Mm.
if any of the guys who are been tasked to do all these kind of things, if you don't know what to do, there's always people like Rafi to talk to, so that they can point you towards the right direction and the right services, so that it's easier. Of course, some people will say, hey, but I can use I can do it via Zoom and everything and broadcast the whole thing to everybody. But if you are planning to use just your webcam and 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 then and then to make it seem very awesome and stuff, I don't think that's gonna make it, because I've seen some productions where they stream it via Zoom, but wow, they have like overlays, they have different cameras and everything. How do you think they can do it in a more affordable manner without having an actual production crew? Mm.
Mm, there's this thing called virtual sets.
Mm-hmm.
Virtual sets is basically, I think in VMAX there's a built-in virtual set that you can use. Um, there's a new tech, they do one as well. OBS, you could possibly create one. But a virtual set basically is a 3D environment within your broadcasting software that you can place your uh, persons and video elements in specific areas
Oh,
within the 3D.
nice.
So it within that 3D environment, you also have virtual camera that you can track in, track out, pan left, pan right, and so on. So you have an element of movement, so you can look like you're in a TV studio, even though it's fully virtual, right? So
Mm.
that's one of the ways that it can be done. Of course, that kind of a virtual set production takes a bit more effort to put together.
Mm-hmm.
You might need a whole bunch of designers to put together the graphics for you, and all the branding, design element, and all that. So it's possible, yeah. It takes a bit more resource and it takes a bit more time to set up.
Mm. True. Wow.
So technically, you could also put a theater performance in a virtual set.
Hey, that's gonna be quite cool actually. Yeah, you should propose that and see whether it happens or not.
Yeah, maybe we can do Ignite. Republic Poly, are you listening? Anyone from Republic Poly, hands up. Maybe we
Mm-hmm.
can do Ignite in a virtual set. How about that?
Yeah. Oh, that'd be quite cool. Yeah, I mean, once we solve the latency issue between musicians and stuff, or we can do it in the more. Okay, I mean, considering that, of course, like in Singapore, the lockdown, the circuit breaker will be off, on 2nd June. Um,
Oh, on. You off the circuit breaker already. Now must on.
Wait, you turn on the circuit breaker so that we all stay at home. So you off it so we can all go out. Okay, but it's gonna be in stages. But of course, the first stage allows content creators to operate nicely. So of course, that being said, that opens up a lot more possibility, because finally you can go to a actual set and film something or do a live thingy. I mean, provided is I don't know whether you still need to do approvals and stuff or not, but that's gonna be something interesting. At least we are um um I mean, Ignite can be a virtual thingy again, because we
Mm.
don't want people to gather there, but at least you can actually have a band gather there and play, and then stream from all the various studios in Singapore. That could be an idea.
Yeah, possible. I think
Mm-hmm.
after the circuit breaker has been lifted, there will still be social distancing measures
Yep,
in place.
definitely.
And I mean, places like studios and I mean, both recording studios and TV studios and live performance venues will
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
gradually start opening up. And that's when we can start to get creative, and see like how best can we use these spaces, because you're not going to fill it to capacity with audience, right? So what can we do with the space? So we can do lots of recordings, definitely. If you have the network infrastructure inside, you can set up a broadcasting in your venue. So if you own a small venue and you can't sell tickets, then you bring a remote audience into your venue, right? So a remote audience is not limited by the number of seats you have in your venue, right? Like the SRT event that we did, the live audience during the actual stream we hit about 750 views.
Wow,
So
that's
that was
awesome.
the live. So live people watching, about 750 people. That's the size of a medium-sized venue in Singapore. It's bigger than the drama center in Singapore. And consecutively within the next week or so, the views went up to 11,000. I think now it's maybe about 12,000 views for that hour plus long show. And if you want to fill a venue with 12,000 people, it takes quite a long time, right? So, but in the online environment, you can do that in a very different way. Of course, these are free events, so they call it's free event that are being streamed on a free platform. But if you want to monetize that, you can also put your streams on a paid platform, right? Or pay-per-view kind of scenario. And that is also an income stream back to the performing arts. So you have to start
Mm-hmm.
charging people again, because we're spending money to get new gear, you're spending money to get new services.
Yep.
You have to get that money back into the business, right? Back into the arts. So eventually I do see that the industry will start charging again for online events. We have to see people paying a fair sum. Of course, if it's not a Broadway show, you're not going to pay $268 plus 60 fee for a musical, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you're going to watch it online, maybe the fee will be a lot lower. But think about that reach again, right? 1,000-seater theater versus a 12,000 views or 12,000 tickets bought. Yeah, it's a very different
Mm-hmm.
income structure
Mm-hmm.
that we can look forward to.
True, true. I think finding a balance between convenience for the audience and also getting your money back is kind of important. Yeah, otherwise, you can't always stream for free. Especially if let's say you're a performer or content creator. I think doing that actually jeopardize your career because once the whole audience is so used to getting it for free, they won't pay for it anymore. Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
last time free, why now must pay?
Yeah, correct, Yeah, so this is I think this is something that is kind of important for every content. I mean, in a certain sense, if let's say you're a content creator that is, like for us, we work for companies, but doing this for marketing purpose, of course it's okay because marketing exposure in this kind of thing I think is still alright. But if let's say you're someone who depends on the arts to earn a living, and I think you should actually work towards a way that can actually get yourself paid. Otherwise, you're providing free, and you are a professional. I mean, artists, painters, all these people, they are professionals, and if you can't get anything out of it, then you're just killing your livelihood slowly and surely. Yeah, of course, unless you are like unless you are like Aaron Kwok, who did the very mega concert recently, that was streamed online. But then again, you can see that the whole production was done very nicely by the TV station. It looks very awesome, and I think for them, when they stream for free, in the end they get paid by all the online platforms for the view counts and everything. So it's still okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for sure the production crew is definitely paid lah. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're definitely covered by the broadcasting company
Mm.
for something like that. I mean, even the last few weeks I've been doing some research on Twitch, just to see what kind of events or what kind of music performances are happening on Twitch. And I came across this DJ. He's a quite big name DJ. I won't name who. He's a big name DJ from
Mm-hmm.
Europe,
Mm-hmm.
UK side, and they did a performance at the Grand Canyon with helicopter drone shot going around and
Wow.
all that. And I was thinking like, wow, that's a lot of money to spend, right? So hopefully the production crew got a pretty good payout for that lah.
Mm-hmm.
And all
Mm-hmm.
that for a free stream.
Wow.
It was streamed free on Twitch. And then again, we have to, as on the producer point of view, like did they really have to spend that kind of money lah? In a sense, whether there's a value for money for that kind of expense, because you want to create jobs, you want to spend money to create jobs, and also you need to spend money that makes sense for the business. So whether your arts company is able to sustain through that performance or through that live stream event, is it gonna be a fundraising event, or is it gonna be something that you're gonna donate your what you get to a third party or something like that, right? So there are different models that we can consider, and also for those that can afford, also think through exactly what they're gonna pump their money into lah. Because personally, if you're gonna pump money on a couple of helicopters flying around the Grand Canyon, I don't know how much it helps. Especially in a time like this.
True. And of course, Singapore, I don't know. Maybe we can fly drones over the super trees and stuff. But then again, it also. But that's the idea, If let's say NEC or MediaCorp is watching this, or yeah, I don't know, maybe, the super tree, is very good as an isolation thingy. You can put the drummer on one tree, the guitarist on one tree, the singer on another location, and then yeah, there you go. You have a multi-point um setup in a certain sense, which I think would be quite cool if you can pull it off. I think that'll be quite happening.
Could be
Yeah.
interesting. It could be interesting.
Yeah.
Hashtag uniquely Singapore.
Yeah, Unique Singapore, man. Yeah, STB, please. If you want to use this idea, please pay me. Okay, I come up with the idea first. All right. Yeah, and it's on digital domain, so yeah, it's my idea. All right. Okay. All right. So I think we covered a lot of ground today. From how things were traditionally done to how things are now being done in the digital domain. Then Rafi actually covered a lot of things from the software being used to internet to sound to how to make everything look better and everything. Of course, if let's say you have bad internet connection, there's also ways for you to do that via a bonding. Wait, what's the actual technical term? Is a
Bonded SIM.
bonded SIM routers and stuff. So that's kind of, if you say your stream is mission critical, then you have to do that lah. Of course, if your stream is not mission critical, then never mind lah. Of course, if let's say you're doing like town halls and anything, there are so many ways to make your CEO and your board of directors look good. So, but of course, we are not demoing that right now. If you want to learn that, you can always ask Rafi and then see whether I can give you a quotation or source or something. Yeah,
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
So of course, so today, it's kind of interesting. To the guys, to the sound guys who just dropped by, Rafi was sharing, how he did with SRT, how they live stream the whole thing, and then how they, um, basically what happened during the behind the scenes or the technical part for the creation of that, which is very very interesting. Oh yeah, but bro, like how do you make sure that all of them sound good? You give them microphones and proper microphones and everything. Did they?
Yes.
Yeah.
For that particular production, we send them a kit for each cast member. So each cast member receive a kit that basically a small LED light, USB lapel mic, and a Cat 6 cable, because some of them don't have, or the routers are very far away. So just to ensure that everyone will be able to have wired internet, we send them a kit to enable them. So that worked really well. And the wired USB lapels also tremendously help with the sound quality, because that's even some of them were just using very old computers at home, so their webcam may not be as good, but at least everybody sounded good, and everyone that was watching really enjoyed and understood every single word that they spoke. So mission
Okay.
accomplished.
Okay. Wow. That's kind of happening and interesting because, um like a lot of times, like what you say, if they sound like, and then nobody will pay attention to the entire whole stream anymore. All right. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, guys. If you have more questions or you have any questions regarding how to convert your stage to the screen, please don't hesitate to ask them now. We take all kinds of questions except for age. Yeah, age is a bit sensitive over here. But okay, like of course, if you feel, maybe you don't want to you want to keep it private, you can always PM Rafi or PM me, and then we can actually take it offline and everything. Okay. All right. I guess the crowd is very shy today, so they are a bit quiet and everything. Or
Yeah, no
maybe,
questions. So quiet.
yeah, never mind, it's okay. But of course, I think we cover a lot of ground today with Rafi, and as in we went through so many things together with him. So even maybe because we ran through so thoroughly that there's no questions that they want to ask anymore. Yeah. But of course, it's always quite tedious to do it yourself. If you need any technical help or any advice, do feel free to hit him up. All right. I mean, he's a nice guy and he's willing to share. All right, so let me give him a round of applause. All right, I think you can't hear it. Yeah, but usually this is what I do to appreciate our guests and make sure that Yeah, all right. So Rafi is the managing director of ARK-AV. I mean, the company does AV consultation. So apart from build, design, and install, and consultations for AV systems, they are now doing bringing the whole stage to screen experience for corporates or for organization right now. All right. So if you have any questions pertaining to that or any requirement pertaining to that, do feel free to let them know. All right. Okay. So today is a very nice Friday evening. Yeah, it's TGIF. All right. So thank you guys for listening in and enjoying spending your time all the way with us. So it's time to say goodbye. So yep, all right. So I'll see you guys on the next stream. All right. Thanks, Rafi. Thank you.
No problem.
All
See
right.
you
See you
guys.
guys. Bye
Thanks for
bye.
having me, Jinfu. Bye
Yeah, no,
bye.
it's always a pleasure, man. All right. See you. Good night.